Hey, it's your boy Terrence K. Williams, and I am here with the one and only Kevin Sorbo, the legendary actor, the best out there. Kevin, how's it going?
Doing really, really well. It's good to be here, man.
It's great. Kevin, I got to ask you a question.
All right,
man.
let's hear it.
Have you paid any reparations yet?
No, but I know I'm guilty for being white, though. I know that. I'm second generation Norwegian, so we weren't even here during the slavery years. So I don't know. I think I should be excluded from any of those kind of discussions.
Right. Well, I got on Twitter and I saw a tweet and you were like, I am not paying reparations. And Twitter went crazy. I read the comments. People were flipping out. How dare you say you're not paying reparations? Some people think you should just pay reparations just because you're white. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
That's the world. That's the world we're living in right now. It's cancel culture, insanity, wokeness, and dumbness. I mean, these are people that have nothing better in their lives. These are people that are broken. Their dreams didn't come true.
Right.
They had one failure in life, and they probably gave up and said it's God's fault or God they don't believe in, or it's government's fault, it's my fault, it's the world's fault, and we should pay for them being losers. No, I'm not going to pay for any of that stuff. God never promised an easy life for any of us. We're all going to hit roadblocks in life. How you react those roadblocks is really up to you. These people are going to react with anger and hatred.
So, Kev, you're not giving not a dime.
No, why? Why do I own? I had nothing to do with it. Anybody alive right now had nothing to do with it. And should I remind people that the slaves that were being sold in Africa were being sold by black people?
That's true.
They were black people selling black people.
That is very true.
And slavery has been around forever. You know, a lot of these idiots in America honestly believe that America was the only place to have slaves. The Muslims today still have slaves.
Right.
They estimate 20 million people are under slavery under the Muslim population.
And nobody talks about that.
No, they're going to talk about that. They're not going to walk into a Muslim bakery either. They're going to pick a Christian bakery because they know with a Muslim bakery probably might be repercussions.
Exactly.
The Christians, they go, oh, we're so sorry. You know, but no, it's not going to happen in the Muslim world.
Man, Kevin, I love it. I love it because so many people are thinking what you're thinking, but they won't say it.
Because they're afraid.
Because they're afraid to be called a racist. They don't want to be called a racist.
It's such an unbelievable, I mean, people on the left love their labels. Right. You're a racist. You're a homophobe. I love when they call me a homophobe. I've been in Hollywood 40 years. Every set I've been on, I've had gay people working with me. You won't find one that said I was horrible to them or a horrible person to work with. You won't. But it doesn't matter.
That's because they don't have an argument.
No, today's world is you are now guilty if I say you're guilty. With no proof. They don't have to have proof. They can say anything about anybody now. And it used to be you're innocent until proven guilty. It's the other way around now. And this is how insane the world has become. But unfortunately, I think the majority of the world thinks the way I think. But most of these people are sheep because governments through the decades, and certainly in the last 10 years, use fear as a weapon. Not just in America. Right. They use it in every government around the world. And certainly during the COVID fear factor, everybody was afraid to do anything. And the government said, you got to do this. And people like sheep said, okay, we'll do it. I'm here to wake up the lions. The sheep are useless.
Yeah, you are. Listen, that's why, man, I love your Twitter. I look at your Twitter. Truth. Yeah, you speak the truth. And I couldn't believe, I'm like, wow, Kevin is really tweeting this because you don't get that from a lot of people that have been actors in Hollywood. Yeah. You know, and I don't even put you in Hollywood anymore because you're way better than those people.
I'm not a Hollywood person.
You're not a Hollywood person.
I love making movies. I love doing TV.
Exactly. But you're not a Hollywood guy.
Not really.
You know, you're just a real guy. And that's why I love the fact that you speak up, you know, and you speak for a lot of people. And the reparations thing, I mean, I was laughing because people were absolutely melting down. And Kevin, you are right. Well, there was a two-party system, okay? There were two parties involved. Yeah. There was a seller and there was a buyer. The seller was a black man or a black woman, who knows? Sure. The buyer happened to be European. Yeah. So you have to be mad at both the seller and the buyer if you're going to be really mad.
Well, then go back a couple hundred years.
Exactly. but people have selective outrage. And like you said, nobody living today was a slave. And a lot of these people living today are lazy. Yeah. Just lazy.
Yeah. They just want
lazy. Don't want to work. Don't want to do nothing.
They want to do nothing.
You would never have survived as a slave.
And you got the Democrat. You got the Democrat Party that's endorsing that, and I'm more than happy to do it. Why do you think Biden's brought in 5 million people across his border in 2 years? Trump had 1.4 in 4 years. He's got an open border. They're going to have 10 million people or more by the time Biden's administration gets done because he won't be reelected. There's no way. But what they've done, where are 10 million people going to go? What are we going to do with them? You don't think crime's going to go crazy, even more crazy in this country? And have people like Antifa and all these guys and Black Lives Matter, that was exposed to be a joke as well. And a lot of black people have come out to talk about that. Where'd all this money go that all these big companies threw at Black Lives Matter?
Where did it go?
Went in the pockets
it did not go to the communities.
What did they do? They went and bought some houses. They bought about something. I mean,
they spent all that money and said it was going to be for the black community.
Can do a thing
and now they're demanding reparations.
Yeah.
What did you do with the money?
Led by LeBron James making $90 million a year.
Exactly.
Poor LeBron James.
And poor Oprah. She's a billionaire.
I know.
What are they doing? But Kevin, this movie, Left Behind.
Sure.
Man, I've heard a lot of great things about this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of great things.
It's based on Left Behind books. They sold 80 million copies back in the 90s.
80 million?
80 million, the books. And
wow.
So the first couple movies they did back in 2000 were with, they did the last movie with Nicolas Cage back in 2014. My movie, God's Not Dead, came out at that same time. The people that own Left Behind books, that own the rights to the movie making, is Cloud 10 based out of Toronto.
Okay.
And they got inundated with emails and fans saying it should be Kevin Sorbo in the role, not Nicolas Cage. So they contacted me and they said, the next movie, you're going to be our guy. So I directed it as well. It came out in theaters. It just finished its run recently. Now it's out streaming on DVD. I mean, it's streaming on Amazon, but also available on DVD at Walmart. So it's out there right now, and it's a wonderful action thriller. Deals 6 months after the rapture. So all the Christians of the world have been taken, if you want to believe that part of the Bible in the book of Revelation. And so it's like a sci-fi movie. It's like a thriller sci-fi movie, but it's for everybody. You don't have to be a Christian to see this movie to enjoy it.
Yes.
It's got a great action to it. It's got great storyline. And it's like, there are people that think the Bible is sci-fi and think it's myth. There are people that believe everything in the Bible. So they can decide when they see this movie what they want to believe or what they don't want to believe, but they can enjoy the movie watching it.
Right. Now, I read a review and someone said that if you watch this movie, they believe that a non-believer would start believing in this.
Sure.
Would start believing. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a great story. I think there's, people are, like I said, people are filled with fear, especially now.
Yeah.
And people looking for answers. When COVID happened, they closed down churches. Churches were not essential, but strip clubs were, liquor stores were. But don't go to church.
Don't go to church.
Don't sing out loud because you're going to spread COVID.
Yeah.
It was just, it was so insane what people believed.
Yeah.
I mean, people were afraid. In California, they were arresting people for walking on the beach by themselves. Because apparently they're going to spread COVID walking the beach. We should have kept gyms open. We should have kept playgrounds open. We should have kept parks open. We should have kept beaches open. You need to be outside. You need to be
We should have kept
healthy.
everything open.
Yeah.
We should have kept everything open.
I mean, it's just, it's crazy what they did, but they know it now.
Yeah.
Facebook took me down 2 years ago. That wussy Zuckerberg and his minions. Like you tell I get attacked. It's those few voices that get attacked. I got 1.6 million followers on Twitter, more than that. The majority of them are fans of mine. The other ones just want to be angry for the sake of being angry. So it doesn't matter what I say. They want to attack me. That's just what they do.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
These are miserable people that live miserable lives. Yeah. They're what they say about me doesn't affect my life. That only hurts themselves more. They keep living deeper and deeper into this hole that they've dug for themselves. And I feel sorry for them because I don't care what they say about me.
You know what's crazy what you just said is I didn't think about that. During COVID, during the pandemic, they shut down churches, but strip clubs were open. That was fine.
Liquor store.
So I can't. So
suicides went up. Spousal abuse went up. Child abuse went up. But everything else they did was perfect. It was amazing how they handled it.
I can't go to church and praise Jesus.
No.
I can't clap for Jesus.
No.
I can't go to Jesus.
You can say Jesus as a swear word. That's okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But you can go to the strip club. I mean, that's Now, what made you get into the Christian films?
Actually, it was back in 2010. Dallas Jenkins is now doing a thing called The Chosen, which is a massive hit. He was a friend. He sent me a script. And he said, "What do you think of the script?" And I said, "I really like it." Who's playing Pastor Ben? And he said, "Well, I got a couple other actors playing this role." And I said, "Well, I'm playing." He goes, "Dude, I can't afford you." He said, "It's a really low budget movie." I said, "I don't care. Pay me what the minimum is. You got to pay me. Whoever's paying that role." I've done well over 80 movies, and that movie it's called What If. It's in my top 3. The same writers that did God's Not Dead that I shot a couple years later, which was a massive hit.
A great movie.
What If is better. Same writers, Carrie and Chuck, those same 2 guys that wrote God's Not Dead wrote What If. In my book, much better movie. But the trouble is when you're shooting these smaller budget movies that are below $5 million, which is catering budget in Pirates of the Caribbean or Avengers, or $300 million movies.
Yes.
We don't have a $100 million advertising budget like they do to show the trailer in every football game and every basketball and every soap opera. We got to go word of mouth. We got to, get out as much as we can on our own. I did 140 interviews for Left Behind, okay?
Wow.
3 weeks leading into the movie, as much as I possibly could to get it out there.
Yeah.
So we got to compete against these movies, and we need people to sit there and support these things because people want these kind of movies. There's 80 million homes that want the kind of movies that I do. 80 million. 80 million. And yet Hollywood won't make those movies.
Why not? Like, why do you think they won't make them?
I think they like their anger. They like their hatred. They have their agenda. You know, I got booted out 10 years ago. My agent manager said, we can't work with you anymore because I'm being a conservative.
For being a conservative?
Yeah, and being a Christian. I think it's worse being a Christian in Hollywood than being a conservative. But both those things combined made me a double leper in Hollywood. So they booted me out. But, you know, fine. You know, they're the ones who scream for tolerance and freedom of speech. Yeah. But as we know, they're hypocrites, and it's a one-way street with them on both those counts. So to me, I got to keep fighting and doing my own thing. I formed Sorbo Studios. Go to sorbostudios.com, sign up, a lot of great things there. And we're doing the movies that we're doing. And
people can go to your website.
sorbostudios.com.
And donate. Like, can they donate?
They can donate if they want.
They can donate and help out?
Yeah, because we're raising money for our next movie as well. But they can also just sign up. We'll keep them up to date.
Right.
My site's on there. My wife's site's combined with mine. She's a homeschool advocate. She travels the country to homeschool speaking. She's got a number of books. I got books. We got all kinds of, autographs, things that people want from DVDs or scripts or whatever. But I want to do movies that made me want to be an actor in the first place. Movies I grew up with watching reruns with my mom from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So in the 70s, I watched these old black and white movies with my mom, and I said, I want to be an actor. That's what I'm going to do. You know, so it was movies that had the good guy won. Right now, we celebrate evil. We celebrate negative. We celebrate violence and sex. And I'm not approved.
All these reality shows.
But oh my gosh, everything deals with
Kardashians.
Everything deals with hate, envy, jealousy, divisiveness. And look what we have. Public schools. Look what they're doing today. I didn't have that when I went to public schools. They taught math. They taught science. They didn't teach crap they're teaching now. I mean, it's just stupid what we're doing and the brainwashing of our students. Yeah. Take them out of school, homeschool. 2 million more families homeschool now during COVID because they realized really we got to stop using public schools as a babysitting service for our kids because public schools suck.
Terrible.
Oh, we
terrible.
We rank like 29th or 30th in the world. This is America. It's pretty bad.
Terrible.
Look, our founding fathers were homeschooled. Abe Lincoln was homeschooled. There was no public education back then. Public education started just in the last century and a half. So people were taught at home and on the farms and wherever it may be. But look at what's going on in the world now. Once we took the Bible out of the schools back in 1964, interesting thing is we give Bibles to prisoners.
Right.
So it's like,
that's true.
Trying to figure that one out. But anyway, here we are.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I do believe we have to start supporting Christian films more often.
Sure.
We have to. And if we're going to...
even movies that have good moral values in it.
Right, exactly. And if the conservatives, if we're going to complain about these Hollywood films, or if we're going to complain about these movies and TV shows that Netflix is putting out, then we have to start supporting good movies. Like these good Christian films with good morals and values.
Look at how Netflix and Amazon have taken a dive in their stock in the last 2 years.
They have.
People are sick of the stuff they're putting out. All this woke stuff, all this ridiculous stuff. Be a transgender, be gay. I don't care. But do they have to be in every single movie?
In every single movie, stuffing it right down your throat.
Yeah. If you want equal representation, if you represent 3% of the population, then be in 3% of the movie. That's equal representation.
Right.
Not in 90% of the movies. I don't care if people are gay. I don't care if people are transgenders. I feel actually sorry for a lot of these people because I've been reading up a lot about it now that it's the highest suicide rate amongst any group of people. Because these are people that are tortured with, am I a boy? Am I a girl? I can't imagine going through that as a person. Does it exist? Yeah, it exists. It's for real. So I'm not denying that it's not out there. But to sit there and tell everybody we've got to accept, you don't accept me being white. A lot of black people don't.
Yeah, right. You know? People don't want to accept that you don't want to pay reparations.
That's the stupidest thing in the world.
Yeah. So, but exactly. So Kevin is not giving a dime to black people. Not a penny.
Where is white man day? We got Black History Month. We got Woman Month or something going on right now.
Yeah. Well, yep.
But what is a woman?
What is a woman? They don't know what a woman is.
I've always said whatever you got below your belt line, that's pretty much what you are. But apparently there's 78 different genders now.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's very confusing.
Exactly. Yeah, but we got to start supporting. We got to start supporting more because look at what Netflix is doing. Disney is very sickening.
You got a lot of people that are doing good movies. The Irwin brothers do great movies. The Kendricks. I mean, I'm doing it. The Pureflix guys are doing it. I mean, we're all trying to get things out there that have a positive message instead of a negative.
Man, because
I'm not going to do movies that bash people for their life choice. I don't do any movies like that. I celebrate humanity. I celebrate being positive, I started being a good person.
But I guess hatred sells more.
Apparently, well, it changed in the 60s. That's when things changed.
Yeah. Free
love, the Vietnam War, the whole thing in 1964 with in Birmingham, there were civil rights.
The civil rights.
All these different movements happened, and Civil War, and all the violence going on in cities like Chicago and all these places in the South with mistreatment of the black population. I'm all for people having equal rights. I'm all for people getting a chance to step up in the world. Some of my best friends, Larry Elder.
Yeah, Larry. Great guy. We love Larry.
Dr. Ben Carson.
Yes.
I go play pool at his house. They sit there and this guy's an Uncle Tom. Why? Because like Charles Barkley is a friend of mine, and he came out like a couple months ago and said, what has the Democrat Party done for us the last 60 years? Honestly, what have they done? Where has school gotten better in the black communities? Where has violence gotten less in black communities? It's just getting worse and worse and worse. Look at Chicago. Strictest gun laws in the country. Strictest. Yet the highest shooting every year. Thank God that
Lori Lightfoot is now out as mayor.
How does she get voted in?
Right.
You realize there's 12 shootings every single day in that city? Every single day.
She didn't speak about it.
I did a documentary. I did a documentary with Kevin Jackson that I narrate. It's called Bleeding Blue. It's about cops and what they got to go through. Does it paint cops as perfect people? No. Every job has its bad seed, right? Every job has bad people. The majority of cops are good people. And then in 2018, they had over 4,100 shootings. There's been more lately, but that's statistics. I have the most recent ones, full statistics. 4,100 shootings. That's 12 a day, every single day. How many involved the police? 0.8%. So 99.2% involved mostly black on black, white on white too, but 99.2% were not the cops. Who gets all of the press? The 0.8. When a cop gets involved in any shooting.
Right.
And in that year, 10 black people were killed by police officers. You know how many police officers were killed? 80. Anybody riding over that? 80 police officers.
Selective outrage.
That's exactly
selective outrage.
That's exactly what
because if you say that you really care about the lives of other people, you will speak up regardless. Yeah. If a cop shoots a black, you will speak up then. Okay, cool. Sure. But also speak up when it's black on black crime.
Did you see a video of this kid, 6'6", 280-pound high school kid?
What was the video
about? He went after his teacher, who's white, who's about 5'2", because she took his Game Boy or his whatever. He was playing something. They took it away. Beat her to a pulp. There's like 5-6 people in the video having to pull on. He hit her so hard. She hit her head hard. She was out. He jumped on top while she's out, smashing her in the head 18 times, smashing her and kicking her in the face.
I didn't hear about this.
Where's the outrage? Oh,
I didn't hear about this.
Video's out there. Came out a couple weeks ago. Video's out there.
But I'm saying,
where are the white people rioting? Where are anybody rioting about this?
But the thing is I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It's not trending.
Yeah.
They're not talking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks.
About that.
If
that was a white kid, if that was a small woman,
a 6'5" white boy named Bubba,
offensive tackle on his high school football team,
and cornbread eating Bubba attacked a black teacher,
it'd be all over the place. Man, be all over the place. That's the hypocrisy and the weirdness of
the NAACP. Be having a press conference.
Jesse Jackson,
Al Sharpton to be out there yelling.
They be out there raising more money again.
To be out there sweating out his perm, man. It would be absolutely crazy. But it's selective. Those guys, outrage.
Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, they survived. They made their money by always claiming racism. That's how they made their money.
Keeping it alive.
Keep it alive.
Blaming.
You think Democrats want to solve the problems? No, they won't solve the problems. They don't want the black guy.
But I don't understand.
They don't want the black population to be educated.
I don't understand how people don't see that.
More are. You're seeing it. Charles Barkley sees it. Larry Elder, Ben Carr. More and more people are coming out. You know, guys like Lynn Swann see it. Professional athletes, they're seeing it. But it's 60 years because the black population for a whole were pretty conservative because of what Abe Lincoln did. Up until the 60s, they're pretty conservative. And the black population stayed together in marriages and family units much better than whites. Once the Welfare Reform Act came in from LBJ, 80% now the black population is raised without a father. 80%. Because our government said...
When they start giving assistance.
They said, tell you what, every kid you have, we'll give you money. But you can't have a man in the house.
Wow.
So what happens in the inner cities and black populations now? You get a lot of women that have 5 kids from 5 different guys by the time they're 30 years old.
Yeah.
Collecting money. It's become a way of life. And it's when 3 generations later, it's become a way of making a dollar. It's sad. It's sad. And look what happens. And look what happens to the male population. Bloods and the Crips and the gangs in Chicago and New York and all that. It's people don't want to hear it because it's the truth. Yeah. People come after me for this. That's fine. You can't speak the truth. They take you down. They want to go after you.
But you have to speak it though.
You got to speak it.
You have
people got to wake up and just say enough is enough. Guys, I want to solve problems in this country because this country is great, but we are a socialist country now. And that's not a good place to be. Nothing good about socialism is so close to becoming communism. And you look at the greatest cancel culture guys of the world, they were Stalin and Hitler. Yeah. Those 2 guys, between the 2 of them, 80 million people they exterminated back in the 20th century. 80 million. Greatest cancel culture. They're more proficient than Planned Parenthood that took care of about 60 million.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? That have murdered 60 million babies in the womb. Yeah. Think about it.
That is crazy. Yeah. And we got to keep the American dream alive. We got to.
And you get attacked for that.
We got to.
They attack you for now wanting to live the American dream. You get attacked now that I'm a 13-year overnight success. I got beat up in Hollywood, you know? Right. You're too this, you're too that, you're too young, too old, too tall, too short, too whatever. It's all about rejection. You're not black enough. Look, I couldn't do a commercial today. You got to be a black guy to be a commercial on today's television. There's this guilt thing now in Hollywood. Oh, we better book nothing but minorities, no more white people. And and I see it. Everybody sees that. Yeah. And you kind of going, this is ridiculous what we're doing right now. It's ridiculous that we're tearing apart the country.
America is the greatest country in the world.
Greatest country in the world, and we're tearing it down. And we want to turn it into a third world country. The majority of 18 to 30-year-olds in voting age, if you only counted their votes, this entire country would be blue. Right. And we'd be a complete. This is the greatest country. They need to go spend a year in North Korea, Russia, Venezuela.
They wouldn't survive.
Are anybody? I keep telling these people that think socialism is good or communism is good. I say, is anybody rushing the Mexican border to get at Mexico? Is anybody taking boats from Key West to Cuba? Right. No, they're not, and there's a reason for that. People still want to come to this country because it's about the American dream. But now if you spend the first 10 years of your life in your 20s and your 30s working your butt off 100-hour weeks and building up a business and finally able to have success and hire people and get in your business, you got 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. Now they go after you for being succcessible. Right. And that never used to be that way. It's changed the last 20 years. It's gone. It has changed.
You know, and people do question me, Terrence, how can you be a black man and say that America is great? How can you be a black man and love this country? Kevin, I come from foster care. My mother had 9 children. Wow. 6 different fathers. I was in the system before I was in kindergarten. I bounced from home to home. I lived in children's shelters. And you know what? The American dream is real. Because now you remind me of my childhood because I used to watch Hercules. And I remember when I was in foster care at the children's shelter, we were watching Hercules.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
That show was the #1 TV show in the world by our 3rd year. We were in 176 countries. We passed Baywatch as the most watched show in the world.
Wow, amazing.
I was getting over 2,000 letters a week pouring into New Zealand where I live. That's where we shot the series. There were so many letters in there from kids that were orphans and foster care saying, your show has given me hope. Your show shows me that I don't have to be angry all the time, that I don't have to fight all the time, that I can work my way around things to try to make things better. And you're a perfect example of somebody that said, okay, I'm not gonna have people put a label on me.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that I can.
I know that I can do it.
You can blame the world. Yeah. But you got to look in the mirror. You got to cue Michael Jackson's song, "Man in the Mirror." Okay. Yeah. You got to look in the mirror and say, "What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about these roadblocks in my life?" Because God, like I said, never promised an easy life.
Exactly.
You got to get out there and bust your butt.
You got to get out, man. Kevin, let me tell you.
There's gonna be a lot of no's. Okay. There's gonna be a lot of rejection. a lot of failure. Those are positive words, not negative.
But no one ever said life would be easy, though. No one ever said that. No one ever said that, but anything is possible. Yeah. Like I said, I remember sitting down, crisscross, applesauce, looking up at the TV, watching Hercules. And that took my mind off of the pain that I was going through. Sure. It took me away from all of that. And I was sitting up there watching Hercules, watching you on TV. Now I'm sitting across from you. interviewing you. Like, man, that is the American dream.
But you know what? That
is the American dream.
I got to give the writers credit for that. I had nothing to do with the writing on the show. I talked about, I would say, why is this? Can we change this a little bit here or something? Yeah, but the writers always wrote really good moral messages. Even though it was mythological, it wasn't biblical.
Yes.
They wrote really good positive messages. We put a lot of humor into it.
Yes.
Because it was too easy of a show to get laughed at. You wanted to laugh with us.
Yes.
So it was always a lot of humor. We had some serious episodes, but for the most part, when you saw the fight scenes, if I throw a guy through the wall, it's his body cut out, that went through that wall or something.
Right.
And we just always made it fun. They put a sound effect every time. I turn my head, they put a sound effect on it, And it was just, people were in on the wink, wink joke with us.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of Gilligan's Island.
I used to watch dang, Hercules just beat up a giant. And Hercules
how old are you now?
31.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Hercules just beat up a giant.
This makes me feel old. You were just a little kid, man. We shot that show from 1993 to 2000.
Man, it was an awesome show.
But I had a blast. 7 years in New Zealand. It was a God's gift to me. And it was supposed to be 5 2-hour movies. Anthony Quinn plays Zeus. For people that know Anthony Quinn, please look him up. He's from the golden age of Hollywood from the 40s and 50s and 60s. And he's the guy that was he was nominated for 6 Academy Awards. He won twice. He was 3/4 Mexican, 1/4 Irish. So his last name was Quinn, Irish name, but he was mostly Mexican.
Yes.
He was in Guns of Navarone. He was in Lawrence of Arabia, major thing. Sorbo the Greek, which is massive. Requiem for Heavyweight, where he won his Oscar. I mean, it's just, the guy was amazing and was supposed to be 5-2-hour movies. Halfway through the third movie, Universal said, "There's nothing like this on TV. We're gonna make it a series now." Well, by our 3rd season, we spun off Xena. But I
love Xena too.
But what came out in season 3 besides Xena? Everybody, if you're successful in television, anything, people will try to copy that.
Yeah.
So when we spun off Xena in my 3rd year, Xena wouldn't have existed without Hercules because it just wouldn't have existed.
Yes.
So Lucy Lawless was lucky to be in New Zealand at the time because she was local. It would have been somebody else to get in that role. Season 5, we spun off Young Hercules. And the guy who played young Hercules, that show only lasted 2 years, was devastated when they canceled him after 2 years. And I took him out to lunch and we're talking. I said, "You're a good actor. You'll do fine." His name, he was a 20-year-old Ryan Gosling that played young Hercules.
For real?
And now he's Ryan Gosling. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's
I wanted to be Hercules.
That's where it started, man.
I wanted to be the young Hercules.
I'm sure if they redo Hercules, they'll make him black. They'll make him black.
Yeah, right.
They will.
He'll be black now.
Or a transgender. I don't know. But they'll do something like that. In today's world, they definitely. But that same year we spun off Xena. All the other studios spun off Sheena, another female thing. They spun off Robin Hood, Tarzan, Sinbad, Conan. There was a Sheena. Sheena. So if there's another Hercules, what would it be called? Hercules? I don't know. I don't know what they would do with it. But everybody tried to copy what we did, but they never caught us in the ratings. We were the most watched show in the world, and that was pretty cool. Then I did Andromeda for 5 years after that.
Okay.
And Andromeda I was a big Gene Roddenberry fan. I love the original Star Trek series. So my captain, Dylan Hunt, was the first captain ever created by Gene Roddenberry after Captain Kirk. So I did that for 5 years. That show was in 156 countries. So I had 12 straight years of just nonstop work, which was awesome.
Now, when you auditioned for Hercules, were you their first choice?
No. They had, at that time, things were starting to go pretty well for me. I did 2 pilots back to back that didn't get picked up. I didn't lose heart because I remember reading about Tom Selleck did 7 pilots before he got Magnum PI. That didn't get picked up. Yeah. But I had the lead in 2 different pilots. And so I knew things were starting to go pretty well for me, that I was starting to get bigger auditions. When they called me in for Hercules, I kind of laughed at first. I was a big guy. I'm 6'3", 210 now, but I was 6'3", 225 back then. Pretty ripped up. But I said, they're going to want like a guy that's 300-pound steroid dude with no neck. They're going to want a real, no. They want a guy that looks like an NFL quarterback. That size guy, or a decathlon. So I went in, and sure enough, all the guys there was roughly my size, all athletic looking guys that looked like they run 100 yard, but they could still work out. And then they called me back 6 more times. So 7 times they called me, and they auditioned 2,800 actors in North America. 2,000? Not just LA where I was living. They went San Francisco, LA, Chicago, New York, Toronto, Vancouver. And so my last call back, there were 2 other guys that were down, the last 3 guys. And I I was at Universal Studios. It was in a theater room where I had to stand on stage. There was like 50 people there. It was all the entire television things of men and women and sorry if I mispronounce pronouns. Ladies and gentlemen, that were there, and I got on stage. Sam Raimi was our exec producer. Sam Raimi did the Evil Dead and Spider-Man movies. He did the last Doctor Strange movie. And I said, you guys aren't giving me any direction. What do you want? They go, no, we like what you're doing. Just read one more time. And they said, okay, would you take your shirt off, please? And I was pretty ripped up. So I took my shirt off. Okay. You're in good shape. If you get the role, would you shave your chest and stomach? I'm not like Robin Williams, hairy back. I'm just got a nice man cover. And I said, shave. I said, I thought you wanted a man for this role. And I started to walk off the stage. And I got a big laugh. And then I flew to Vancouver to do an episode of Michael Chiklis had a series back then, a Stephen Cannell series called The Commish. And so I did a guest spot on it. And they called me halfway through the filming and said, you got the role. And I spent the next 2 weeks training with Douglas Wong. Douglas Wong was one of Bruce Lee's original students in LA. And I did all kinds of weapon training and falling and all this kind of stuff. Then I went to New Zealand, and 7 years, man. It was awesome.
Wow.
It was just
such a blessing. It
opened up everything for me. And since then, I've shot over 80 movies. So I'm doing things through my own studio and through other people getting a hold of me outside of the Hollywood system, because I really don't have a manager or agent anymore.
Yeah. That's amazing. So when you were growing up, did you always want to be an actor?
Since I was 11. I grew up in a little town of 7,000 people.
7,000 people?
7,000 just west of Minneapolis, about 25 miles west of Minneapolis.
Wow, so you knew everybody in the town.
Oh, yeah. And my dad was a school teacher. We didn't have any money. I'm not going to paint a bad picture for me. My dad was a school teacher with 5 kids. Mom stayed home. My clothes are hand-me-downs from my older brothers. I never felt without. My dad didn't make any money as a teacher. I remember my growing up, I remember him just anguishing at the table the last couple days of every month and saying, because there's 4 boys in the family and my one sister. And he'd go, will you boys stop drinking so much milk? Will you stop, drink more water? Because, we didn't have money to spend for us. So I got a paper out when I was 9 years old. I got up 6 days a week, 4:30 every morning, delivering 80 papers in Minnesota weather. Okay.
Throwing papers?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, you had to run up to the doors and put them in. You couldn't you had to get out and run to the house, put it in between the screen, because it was Minnesota weather, all rain and snow. It's 20 below. And I learned, for 7 years I did that. So I learned a lot of responsibility by doing that and hard work. My dad instilled hard work in all of us. But I was 11. Our school went to the Guthrie Theater. The Guthrie Theater is a very famous theater. Guthrie Theater. Arlo Guthrie is an English actor.
Okay.
So the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis, you can Google it. Very famous theater.
Yeah.
There's more theater per capita in Minneapolis, St. Paul than there is in Hollywood, than there is in New York City. They really support the community of the arts. So it was The Merchant of Venice. So it was Shakespeare. I'm 11. I don't know what the hell they were saying. It was Shakespeare, but I was mesmerized by the actors on stage. My mom was a chaperone. I was on the bus sitting next to my mom, and she said, what do you think? I said, you gotta be an actor. She said, that's nice, dear. but
that's cute.
But the reality, exactly. But the reality was, I didn't tell anybody other than my mom, because I was a jock, football, basketball, baseball guy. And our town, like the 7,000 people, 5,000 would show up for our high school football games. And if I told my high school buddy, my football buddies, they made fun of me for playing golf, for crying out loud. They all play golf now. Yes. But back then they said, you play golf? And I said, yeah, it's fun, But it wasn't until I got to college, a double major, marketing, advertising, double business major, but I took a minor in drama because I knew what I wanted to do. And I started doing a lot of commercials Minneapolis and St. Paul is home to a lot of national headquarters like Best Buy, Target, 3M, Honeywell, Pillsbury, General Mills. So I did a lot of commercials during my college years, and I got that all important Screen Actors Guild card, the SAG card. So I had no problem when I moved to LA to get a commercial agent. Yeah. Because I had a great reel already that had national commercials on it. So that part was easy for me. And I was lucky. I was one of the few guys I know in Hollywood that never had to wait tables or bartend or something. I showed over 100.
But you did throw papers in the code.
When I was 9 years old, yeah.
When you're 9 years old.
But I mean, I never had to work another job when I got to LA, and most people are working other jobs, selling cars or whatever.
That's such a blessing. Yeah.
I was shooting 8, 10, 15 commercials a year.
Wow.
I was traveling, and they tell you the favorite word of actors is residuals. So I was getting paid all these residuals because every time they were
still getting some of those.
Well, I haven't shot commercials in years. I'm getting residuals on Hercules still, because Hercules is still in 60 countries.
Okay, that's awesome.
So I'm still getting a nice little check every 6 months.
Are they still planted here?
It's somewhere on some cable. Heroes and Icons, I don't know. It's on something. I don't know. I think Sci-Fi Channel just bought it up again too now. So we'll see what happens.
So Sci-Fi just bought it up?
Well, I think Sci-Fi is owned by Universal Studios. So Universal owns it. So they can still put it on anywhere they want.
Okay. So let's say Hercules. Say would Hercules survive today?
I'm worried where this is going.
Would Hercules survive today? Let's say they just thought, Universal Studios just thought of Hercules and they just found you. Oh man, this is going to be great. And then they went to your Twitter page today. Do you think they would cancel you? And like,
no, I told you, they already canceled me. Hollywood doesn't call me for movies anymore. If it wasn't for independent movies, independent producers, independent production houses, I wouldn't have a career anymore. But I shoot 4 or 5 movies a year at least. I've already shot 1 this year. I got 2 coming up.
Whenever you were canceled, were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised. My wife warned me about it way back in 2010, 2011. And I said, but I'm speaking the truth. What's wrong with speaking the truth?
Right.
So Hollywood won't like it. They don't like you being a conservative. And I already knew that. I've been on enough movie sets and TV where people say stuff and I go, what do you mean by that? How are some parts of communism good? I remember being at a charity golf event. I'm not going to name this celebrity. We're at a table afterwards and she said, I think there's some good things about communism. Well, I'm sitting next to Andy Garcia, who had to escape from Cuba. And Andy went off on her and rightfully so. Yeah. Because he said, you are so freaking uneducated to what communism, true socialism truly is. To sit there and say, that you think there's some parts of it that are good. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing good.
How could you even say that? That's
they're uneducated and because the school system has taught them that it is.
Wow.
They need to go to these countries. My son.
I'm sorry.
Well, my son and I went and bought a car recently for him. Got a used car down in south of here, down in Boca. And the guy selling the car to us was Venezuela. I said, how long have you been in the country? He said 3 years. Said, everything we're hearing about Venezuela. He goes, oh yeah. There are no dogs left in my country because people have ate all the dogs. There's no food. There's no toilet paper. There's nothing.
He said people ate all the dogs. People are eating dogs out there?
They need to eat. People need to eat. There's no food. The dictator running that country right now is taking Venezuela, which was probably the most prosperous country in the Southern Hemisphere, is now one of the worst places to be. Venezuelans are part of that gang. I say gang. I mean, that group of people that are coming across the border. So, and
then we have people here saying that it's good.
No, of course.
It's good. Yeah, go over there. Go over there.
Yeah, go. I looked at him and said, we need to find somebody, some political people to pay you to go around the country speaking to junior high and high schools. Junior high schools and high schools. We need somebody like you to go and explain what. But the trouble is, these teachers today that are brainwashed wouldn't let somebody like that come in and talk.
No, they wouldn't. They were protesting.
They even know how bad. They know how bad communism is. For some reason, they want it. Of all these liberal media out there, I'm surprised there's not one out of the thousands of these magazines out there that gets home and looks at himself in the mirror and says, "I got to start telling the truth." Yeah. And yet they don't. It's weird to me. I wish I could understand it.
I wanted to be a Hollywood actor. It was my dream. I wanted to act, do some comedic acting. I don't think I'm going to make it.
Well, you know what?
But I am very, very talented. I'm very talented, but I just don't, I think like.
Sign with an agency up in Atlanta.
With my political views, I mean, man,
I know.
You ought to see my stuff.
It's sad. It's sad that we can't.
Yeah.
Look, and here's the weird thing about the definition of the word liberal. Liberalism really means everybody's point of view is okay. Seriously, that's what it means. It means that we embrace everybody's diversity. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. It's like they go after you. People went after me on COVID. I kept saying, look, I'm looking at all these other doctors saying the masks are useless. And now we're finding out they just had these 2 big groups of doctors speak at the House committee, in front of the House committee. I've recorded, I got it down, saying all the tests show they did nothing. They did nothing. Look at the stupidity of this. You walk into a restaurant with a fucking mask on, right? The minute you can sit down, you can take it off. Because apparently it's only up here when you're walking. It's the most, and then on airplanes, stay 6 feet apart as you enter. I go, what?
But you sit right next to somebody.
We're about to sit down.
And you're
You're an economy. You literally have that row, that row, that row, that row. You have 29 people closer than 6 feet to you.
People are literally cuddling on the plane.
How stupid are people? How stupid are people?
Yeah. Now that's one thing that tripped me out. Keep your mask on until you sit down.
How did that make any sense?
So do you mean to tell me that when I sit down, COVID is going to be polite enough to leave me alone while I'm eating?
I walked into this restaurant. I ordered food because all of a sudden everybody started doing takeaway, right?
Yeah.
I walk in, didn't have a mask on. And the girl, 19-year-old girl, oh, you must wear a mask. You have to wear a mask. And then there was a chair there. So I sat down. I go, now I'm okay, right? So I'm seated.
Yes.
So I'll just wait for my food while I'm seated. And she didn't know what to do. I said, well, you look at all the people that are seated. They don't have masks on.
No mask on.
I'm seated. I said, I'll tell you, when I get my food, I'll stay at this level. I'll walk like Groucho Marx out the door, okay?
Right.
No
common sense.
There's zero common sense.
Common sense is dead, man. It's dead.
And the CDC and the World Health Organization came out a year ago saying the numbers are totally inflated by about 75, 80%. Did a lot of people die? Yes. Is it real? Yes. I had COVID. I've had it twice.
I had COVID too.
It's like, you know what?
I lost my taste. I lost my smell.
I did as well. My wife got probably the sickest in her family. She was laid up about a week in bed. My kids walked right through it with nothing. I had it. I still worked out. I still was hungry, but I had it. But I didn't wipe me out. Does it wipe people out? Yes, it did. Did it kill people? Yes, it did. Killed most people who were obese. Killed most people over the age of 60. Killed most people that had pre-existing conditions. To make these kids wear masks in school, to make these kids get these vaccine shots, they have the strongest immune system around. And now they're even admitting, once again, I've watched all these house things, these doctors, and now they're saying, we have proven over and over again for people who didn't get the vaccine shot, that natural immunity kept them safer. There are people still taking all the shots, wearing all the masks, and they're still getting it.
They wouldn't tell people to take vitamin C.
It's sad to
take vitamin D3.
Yeah.
They would never tell us that. They never did.
They didn't. They took ivermectin.
They never did.
They took ivermectin off the shelves. Why? Ivermectin is proven. It's been around 80 years. It's proven that it helped.
Why do you think they took it off the shelves?
They wanted people to die. They want people to get sick. They want to make money. Everything's sponsored by Pfizer. Look at every newscast, even in Fox, sponsored by Pfizer. Pfizer made billions and billions profits. It's unbelievable.
But Pfizer said they didn't do this to make money.
Yeah.
Pfizer said they created the vaccine to help people.
It's sad. It is sad how
did they make $1 billion?
It's sad what we did to the world because we had more problems, more suicides, more abuse, more alcoholism, all this stuff picked up more because of it. And it is a crime what governments around this world did. And it's a crime what Fauci was doing.
Yeah, Fauci is the worst.
He's horrible. Bill Gates, all these guys. Are you kidding me?
I trust Dr. Pepper more than I trust
Why does Bill Gates own more farmland than anybody else right now? He's got hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland. He's buying up farmland. Why is Bill Gates doing that?
Why is he doing that? Why do you think he's doing it?
He's doing it to control the food supply. But that's just me. So one of my things on Twitter, I said, I need more conspiracy theories because mine keep coming true.
Yeah, because yours keep coming true. Exactly.
and it was. Yeah. Everything I was sending, everything Facebook took me down for, banned me 2 years ago, took away my 4 million followers, has come true. So Facebook,
did they give you a
Zuckerberg, you little pussy, put me back on Facebook. He's a wuss. He's a rich, nerdy dude, brighter than I am. But he is another billionaire socialist.
Why did they?
He doesn't live that way, does he? He flies in his private planes. He's got mansions. So he lives like a capitalist. He became rich in a capitalist system. Yet he wants everybody else.
He acts like he's against it. Why did he take your Facebook down?
Because I posted the truth about COVID. I was posting what doctors were saying. I wasn't saying this is what I think. I was saying, look at all these doctors from Europe are saying this about mask wearing. So that's misinformation. I said, I'm just posting what they're saying.
Exactly.
You can make up your own mind whether you want to believe it or not. I believed it because I knew that it was true. No, masks were useless. I've got 2 doctor buddies. I'm not going to name who they are. They're pretty big doctors.
Yeah.
And one from high school, one from college. And they told me the same thing. They said, the masks do nothing. You see people on the internet saying it's like putting up a fence at your house and thinking mosquitoes can't get through the fence. Right. That's what this is. The virus is 75% smaller than the flu virus, and the flu virus goes through that mask. And I asked them about the stupid 6-foot thing. They said made up. If you really not want to get sick, a cold, we got to live 20 feet apart at least.
Right.
You can't live 20 feet apart. You can't. We can't live in 20 feet apart.
That's crazy. Now, did they give you your Facebook back?
No, of course not.
It's still gone?
Yeah. I tried to open up and it wouldn't open up. They came back, no, you're knocked off. So, I mean. Even though now that the truth is out, the truth is out now. They don't care. Your conspiracy came true. It was right. Of course. 4 million people just. Yeah, where's my apology?
4 people, 4 million.
Where's my apology?
Gone.
Yeah. And I had no idea at the time you can make money off of Facebook. I could have made a lot of money off that.
You could have.
I had no idea because I don't think that way.
But yeah, but the thing is,
I just want fans to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't really allow conservatives to make money. Well, not really. No, people who speak the truth. Yeah. People who speak the truth, they'll probably let you make a little bit of money and then they'll put a strike on your account. Then they demonetize you. Sure. So you, even if you still had your Facebook, you would have been demonetized and they would have just cut the reach. Yeah. So they already shadow banning me. They were already not letting as many people see. Because I post stuff on Twitter and I'll get anywhere from 200,000 to 2 million views on every post I do. Right. Might not get a lot of likes, but it means that many people opened up to take a look at it. Exactly. You know? So that is insane. Now, has anybody ever asked you to run for office? Yeah. Senator Sorbo. You know, I got called over a year ago. I had a lot of power pastors in California. By the way, I left California 4.5 years ago. I left the worst governor, Newsom, to the best governor in DeSantis here in the state of Florida. This is the freest state in the country. And we left before. That was just 4.5 years ago. This is a year and a half before the COVID thing even started and anybody knew about it. And my wife and I have been talking about moving here for 10 years, but I was getting called and I got called from people from the state capitol in Sacramento and they all wanted me to come back and run against Newsom and a count off. And I said, you have needles? And they said, why? I said, because I'd rather stick needles in my eyes and move back to the state of. So, and then my buddy Larry Elder threw his hat in to run against him. And of course he got attacked. And it's just, but I don't know. You're going to get attacked. I mean, we're all going to get attacked no matter what we say in today's world. Here's the thing. It's like being a referee in a basketball game. You call holding, on somebody or foul on somebody. Half the people say, great call. The other half go, no, he didn't hold him. Even though the guy he's bleeding and has gotten smacked in the mouth. It's just human nature. And people are so brainwashed right now just to believe the way they want to believe. Right. That it doesn't matter what you do. And I'm not here to change people's minds. I'm just here to wake up the people that think the way I do. To speak up and not be afraid. People are misinformed. Oh, yeah. Do your own research. Yeah. Watching CNN is not research. No, watch them all. Watching MSNBC is not research. I flipped through them all just to see it. But it's not research. Remember COVID shots? Rachel Maddow was up there saying, if you take the shot, you'll never get it again. Right. Proven 100% wrong. Can she be sued for that? Has she come back on to apologize? Can she be sued for that? I don't know. Misinformation. She should be taken down. Can she be sued for that? I think you can sue anybody for anything now. Right. Exactly. You can sue anybody for anything. That's how stupid our country is. Yeah, very stupid. It's not that I don't like lawyers. It's just I don't like lawyers. I don't like lawyers either. The majority of them are I think, are bad people. Exactly. Now back to the movies. Do you have any new projects coming out? I got the Reagan movie coming out in the fall. A Reagan movie? Dennis Quaid plays President Reagan. I play his pastor in it. Okay. So I don't have exact date. I heard sometime September, October, November. I got another movie that I directed called Miracle in East Texas coming out. Miracle in East Texas is a true story set in 1930. It deals with the largest oil find in the history of the world in Kilgore, Texas. Kilgore, Texas. And I directed it. I starred in it along with Tyler Main. John Ratzenberger's in it. My wife did a fantastic job in it. It's a great movie, and it's loosely faith-based, but it's a true story. So it's won like 10 different film festivals from best family movie, best comedy, best romantic comedy, audience favorite, judge's favorite. So it's a wonderful movie. Go to miracleinEastTexasmovie.com and see the trailer. But I live in Texas, so I'm almost done. Okay. Houston, Texas. Cool. Houston, Texas. Now, so the Reagan movie, are y'all still filming that? No, it's done. It's done. That's done. So I can't be the driver. It's done. I can't be Reagan's driver. It's done. Oh man. No, they finished it. I wanted to drive Reagan around. They finished it over a year ago. Oh man. So I think the editing of it has been the most difficult part because it deals with them from his basically high school days till death. And that's pretty tough to cover in a 2.5 hour movie. So I think there's been a lot of edits on it. But now what's a movie that you want to make but you haven't made yet? I've got a number of those. Once again, sorbostudios.com. I've got a couple of really, really good scripts. One is called Carpool Lane that I want to get done.
And Carpool Lane deals with a guy that picks up gives a $100 bill to a homeless guy on the side of the street in Los Angeles to get in the car so he can use the carpool lane. He's a high-powered lawyer. He doesn't want to wait in the traffic, and he's got a busy day today. He's got 3 really high-power meetings, and each meeting in LA traffic is going to take him, hour and a half to get to. And it's mostly done in the car, and it's a pretty interesting conversation. I might have Dennis Quaid playing the role opposite me. I'm directing that one as well. There's one with Neil McDonough. That's an amazing Western called The Wicked and the Righteous. Okay. And it is Yellowstone violent, but it's a modern day, Cain and Abel story, but modern 1850 for Cain and Abel would be modern day since Cain and Abel is thousands of years ago. That one I want to get done. I've got a wonderful basketball story called Home of the Braves. That was the name of the school. Their mascot is Braves, which people will go after me for that now too. Can't be the Braves. Okay. But it's really good script. I've got about 20 scripts I want to do of 1,000 that I've read that are really good stories. And they're all in that 3 to 5 million range. Like I said, people think that's a lot of money.
It's not.
Not in the movie making. Not when they, James Cameron.
$200 million budgets.
No.
$500 million budgets.
I mean, you look at James Cameron, I think he said he's got to get to 800 million to break even on the recent Avatar movie. But that's from a lot of those movies, like Avengers and all those movies. They got to make that much money to break even. Wow. But I don't do special effects in movies. We do a couple of special effects in there. But our movies, I look at I want to do movies that have real stories about real people. Stories that move you, make you think, make you identify to the character. I can't identify to Hercules. You and I will never be Hercules. You and I will never be Iron Man. They're fun fantasies. Yeah, they're not real. But I fell in love with acting because of actors like Jimmy Stewart and Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy and Cary Grant. Those guys, those are the heroes to me. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Now, I know you care about the kids.
I do.
Because you have an organization called A World Fit for Kids, right?
Yes, kids that we work with. It's called A World Fit for Kids. We've been the #1 after school program now for 26 straight years in LA. I've obviously been gone for 4 years now, but I keep in touch. I do what I can. I used to go out and visit the schools. We work with 12 different schools, 1,000 kids in each of these schools. It's an after school program, #1 in California. LA Unified has averaged, it's one of the worst school systems in the country. Baltimore is the worst. Baltimore is over a 60% dropout rate. Wow. It's over 60%. LA Unified is 52% is the average over the last 27 years. It's tough to even get that to go down further. We have a 98% graduation rate in our program. Why are we doing so much better than what the public schools can do for the kids? We have a waiting list for kids to get into our after school program. Well, we only raise about $3 million a year. Yeah. Can only go so far. I don't get paid for this. I get not one penny out of this. I wanted to do this for kids because I grew up in the public schools. I know what they're like. So I wanted to help the inner city schools because I see how bad the inner city schools are in California. Yeah. So we work with these kids. They're awesome. And we have a 67% higher GPA, 67%. That's amazing. 3 hours with these kids every day. I'm going to have
to get involved with this, Kev.
Worldfitforkids.org. Go check it out.
I'm going to have to get involved.
It's awesome.
I went to a bad public school too. Really bad.
I was lucky. I was a pretty good school.
We walk through metal detectors every day because of violence.
Even my school that I went to has metal detectors now. Even my school. And we're 30 miles out of the city, but it's become part of life. Which is weird.
Wow. Well, Kev, man, thank you for doing what you do.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for speaking up.
I'm so done. You're way past my time here. I got to go.
Kids.
Dude, it went fast. This was cool.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
And I wish you luck with everything in this, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I love your voice. So God bless you, man.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.